How to actually change your life in 90 days and get meaningful results in your life. First, let me know if this sounds anything like you. I know it does. It's 2 a.m. on a Friday or Saturday night. You're covered in sweat and filth. There's towels everywhere. Your eyes hurt. You have a headache. Your stomach kind of hurts. Everything just kind of hurts. And you're in a state of complete emptiness from all the pleasures and vices you surround yourself in. Nothing feels good anymore. Everything feels boring. The games you once enjoyed no longer bring you joy, and the porn you once watched makes you feel hollow. You have no friends, no one to rely on, and the people that are in your life aren't really there. They're kind of just there to make you feel better about yourself, but none of you actually like each other, and the second you got rid of your vices, they'd leave too. If this sounds anything like you, I was once in that situation too. Let me tell you a story. This story starts 3.5 years ago, in a cold December evening. And actually maybe 4 years ago now I think about it, but the timing does not really matter, right? I was sitting up in bed and I was covered in sweat and filth, just like the person I just described. And I was texting this girl who had no interest in me. But the funny thing is, she did actually find me attractive. She found me attractive, but was so disgusted with me as a person that she couldn't actually bring herself to date me or produce any kind of connection with me. And I typed into YouTube a video on how to text women correctly. And although that video provided me nothing, the video was by a certain YouTuber, Hamza. And I'm not about to tell you the generic advice or to go follow his advice, but I'm going to tell you what this did. This opened my eyes to the fact that there is a different possibility. As he makes many videos in self-improvement and stuff similar, it opened my eyes that change is possible. And that's the first thing you need to do, to believe to actually change yourself in 90 days. You have to believe that radical change is not only possible, but it's going to happen. And you can do this if you actually believe that. So, first step, self-delude yourself. But I'm not done with my story. We're going to keep going, and then I'll give you more advice in that realm. So, it started slow at first, and to be honest, this cycle didn't actually take 90 days. It took a lot longer than 90 days. But the time when I actually changed was 90 days. The ideas kept slowly implementing them into my head, because you are what you consume. So another little key tip for the 90-day change, you're going to stop consuming all that bullshit. You're going to just filter your mind. You're going to consume as much self-improvement content, not just from me, but from other people in the space. You're just going to get as much of that stuff in your head as possible, because you want your background thoughts, instead of them being that of degeneracy and the bullshit you consume now, to be of improvement and stuff that will actually help you change your life. That's what you want your background thoughts to now be, right? So over the span of 6 months, I didn't really change. I didn't really do anything. I kind of stayed stagnant or improved a little bit. But finally, I remember it clearly. I went on a vacation for 2 or 3 days, and over that span, I was basically detached from my old life. And during that time, I had enough time to think. And within that thinking, I realized what I had to do. So that's another piece of advice I'm going to do. Right before you start this, I want you to contemplate as much as possible. I want you to unplug your phone, put it in a different room, sit alone, stare at a wall, go into nature, stare at that, take a journal, start writing random shit. You just gotta think. You have to think, because people don't really think anymore. They just react. You have to think. You have to think about what you have to do, because often you actually know what you have to do, but you're not willing to do it. That's another step. Start thinking. Think more. And finally, my story. I radically changed everything overnight. Overnight. It was a 1 second switch. Like the lights were finally turned on. Like I finally understood. I had this intense clarity. I went from jerking off 3 times a day to not jerking off at all the entire summer, to having, I had friends, but I weren't that close with them. Actually, I was close to them, but in fact, you know what? I'm gonna give specific details. I helped one of them improve his life too, and he kind of went with me. And then I had another friend who was a very similar point in position as me, and we both radically improved together. This is another piece of advice I'm gonna say. Find somebody that you can do this with, because then you can both motivate each other to a degree that I or any video can't possibly motivate you to. Now, enough me talking about how I changed my life and not really giving specific details. I'm gonna put images of me on the screen before and afterwards and all that stuff, but that's not really gonna help you. I'm gonna actually tell you what you need to do to help yourself now. So you're gonna make a routine. You're gonna make a morning routine. You're making an evening routine. Okay, and you're gonna stick to it to a military-like way. You're going to do everything exactly the same, because you want this to be as effortless as possible, to where you can do this, where you know what you have to do. You don't have to check, you don't have to look, you just have to know what you're going to have to do. And you're also gonna start reading a book. You're gonna start reading Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits will help you make these habits, make it easy. It's a really easy read, good for your first read in the self-improvement space. That's what you're gonna read. And I'll share my morning routine, my basic version of the morning routine, and you can then adapt that to how you like. Wake up, make my bed, write down some things I'm grateful for, 5 to 10 minutes of that. Then meditate, right? Then start my day. My morning routine is really not that long. I have more advanced, longer ones for when I'm really trying to turn up the dial, but you don't really need that right now. The nighttime one's a little longer, okay? The nighttime, you're going to take supplements, right? I recommend taking a few supplements like creatine, maybe like a multivitamin, fish oil, stuff like that. But if you don't take anything, then don't worry about that. Then you're going to read, right? You're going to read for, say, 20 minutes, okay? Something in self-improvement space. So you're going to be reading Atomic Habits because that's what I'd recommend for beginners. Then a little bit of journaling, right? But not the way like women do it. And I'm not just saying that to be like, oh, fuck women. No. Well, there's women on the right path. But like the feminine way. Honestly, the thing about women's not really true. Just don't journal like a pussy, right? Don't talk to it like it's a person. Just think, bro. Just write your thoughts out, and just keep the strategy I like to employ is asking why. You're gonna write down a thought. You're gonna ask why you had that thought, where that came from, why that reason matters. You keep going deep until you actually figure out more about yourself as a form of self-discovery. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good use of your time. So you're gonna do that, and then you're gonna do your hygiene shit. You're gonna brush your teeth and do all that stuff, floss, all that stuff. You're gonna you gotta take good care of yourself. You gotta have good hygiene, right? Obviously, don't be a fucking idiot. Okay. Then you're going to Then you're gonna meditate for 10, 15 minutes, however long you can. If you can't meditate for even a minute, that's fine. You're gonna meditate as long as you can. All these habits you're gonna do as long as you can, right? Because you might not be able to get to the 10 or 20 minutes yet, but you could start with something small, right? And you're gonna do that, and then you're gonna go to sleep, okay? And that's gonna be, and the reason this stuff works, right, is because it creates a new identity. It's really what it does. It creates a new identity and perception of yourself, and these habits will basically radically change your mental health. There's other parts of your life that matter too, right? Your physical health. So this is your mental health figured out. And you got stuff for your physical health, and then you also have stuff for your social skills, and you have stuff for your purpose, right? So now that we have our mental health figured out, we're going to move on to our physical health. You are going to be working out minimum 4 to 6 days per week. I'll make a guide on how to start doing that too at some point. And you can either learn in a program yourself, which is probably a bad idea, or I like Jeff Nippert's programs, especially if you want to get kind of strong too. Don't buy his beginner essential stuff. Buy or some of his new stuff. His new stuff's a little whack, I'm not gonna lie. I'll just tell you the program that I liked from him a lot. I liked his Power Building 2.0 program because it was basically a bodybuilding program that had a lot of barbell lifts, which was pretty good. I liked that. It was a lot of fun. Ran it multiple times. You're gonna do that. I believe it's 5 to 6 day frequency. You don't have to do this program. Again, you can make a different program if you want. Then you're also going to do some kind of cardio every day or as many days as possible. Ideally, to really change yourself, you're going to join a martial art. That's going to be your cardio, ideally. But if you're in a position to do that, you can start running, you can start cycling, just do something. You just got to do something, really. Because cardio is great for you. And you want to make that, ideally, something social, too. That's just good stuff as well. Same thing with the gym. You're going to talk to people at your gym. You're going to talk to people and more people in general. You're going to talk to new people. You're going to talk to people you've never spoken to. That's what you're going to do. It's going to be good for you. You're going to learn how to actually communicate and how to speak effectively, right? So for these 90 days, since you're at a low point, don't even worry about women. Just don't even worry about it. You're not there yet. Soon, probably after the 90 days, you can start worrying about it. But if you actually need this advice, you probably aren't there. So just don't worry about it. The routines allow you to change the way you live, and they become a staple of your life. So once a staple of your life is this like refined person, your identity can shift too. And that's another thing with the journaling. You want to change your identity. You want to change who you think you are. You're not the kind of guy that does these things anymore. You're not trying to work out. You're a guy who works out. You're not trying to meditate. You're a meditator. You're not trying to do these things. You are them. Once you can shift the mindset to that, you'll actually be able to achieve way more. All right, guys, this has been great. More beautiful content coming soon. Love you guys.